Today we're going to be working on converting with customary measurement and weight. We'll start with a problem. Sarah's luggage can weigh no more than 22 pounds or she will have to pay an additional fee. Her suitcase weighs 112 ounces. How much can she pack in ounces in her suitcase without going over the limit? 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. So looking at the problem, I see that Sarah's luggage can weigh no more than 22 pounds. I also notice that her suitcase weighs 112 ounces. The question we're answering is how much she can pack in ounces in her suitcase without going over the limit. There are a couple of ways to solve this problem. We'll start with one. First, we notice that Sarah's suitcase is 112 ounces. I need to figure out how much 112 ounces is in pounds. Well, I also know that the maximum weight of her suitcase can be 22 pounds. So, if I convert the 112 ounces into pounds, I could make a T-chart, and on the left I could put pounds, and on the right I could put ounces. I know that 1 pound is 16 ounces, so 2 pounds is 32 ounces. 3 pounds will be 48 ounces, and I see a pattern. 4 times 16 will be 64. 5 pounds is 80 ounces. 6 pounds will be 96 ounces. And 7 pounds will be 112 ounces. So I see now that 112 ounces is the same as 7 pounds. So, knowing what I know about the maximum weight allowed of 22 pounds, I could subtract the 7 pounds that Sarah's suitcase weighs, and if I do that, I end up with 15 pounds. Well, the question specifically said, how much can she pack in ounces? So I would need to convert 15 pounds into ounces. I know that if I multiply 15 pounds times 16, it will give me 240 ounces. So that's the first way to find out that Sarah can pack 240 ounces in her suitcase without going over the limit. Another way to solve this is to say the maximum weight of her suitcase can only be 22 pounds. So I need to take the 22 pounds and multiply them by 16 ounces. So 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13. Put down my 0. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 2 is 2. And when I add the partial products of 132 and 220, I get 352 ounces. So, 22 pounds, the maximum weight, is the same as 352 ounces. So I can take 352 ounces, and I can subtract the weight of Sarah's suitcase, which is 112 ounces, leaving Sarah with 240 ounces of room in her suitcase. So, the answer to the question is that Sarah can pack 240 ounces in her suitcase without going over the limit. The next question is Mark buys a 3-pound bag of apples. He takes out some of the apples and measures the weight of those apples to be 1 pound 12 ounces. How many ounces of apples are left in the bag? 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. Well, I notice that Mark has bought a 3-pound bag of apples. He takes out some of those apples, and the weight of the apples that have been removed is 1 pound 12 ounces. The question we're answering is how many ounces of apples are left in the bag, and we're looking for ounces. So, I know that I started with 3 pounds of apples. I know that Mark then removed 1 pound and 12 ounces of apples. So I'll need to subtract. But I also know that I don't have the same units of measure yet. So I need to convert the 3 pounds into ounces. So I can take 16 ounces and multiply them by the 3 pounds. 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So that's 48 ounces. So I know that 3 pounds is 48 ounces. I also know that I need to convert this pound, and I know that 1 pound is 16 ounces, and I know that 12 ounces can be added, so 16 ounces plus 12 ounces gives me 28 ounces. So, 1 pound 12 ounces is 28 ounces. I need to subtract 48 ounces minus 28 ounces, and that leaves me with 20 ounces. So, I can see that Mark had 20 ounces of apples left in the bag. And when it says how many ounces of apples are left in the bag, we can write 20 ounces of apples are left in the bag. For our last problem, it says 4 friends pick small pumpkins at a pumpkin patch. So I know that there are going to be 4 friends. The table below shows the weight of each pumpkin. So I can see there are 4 friends, Kelly, Neelam, Jackson, and Raul, and I can see the weights of each of their pumpkins. It says order the weight of the pumpkins in ounces from least to greatest. Okay, so we need to convert all of these measurements into ounces, And then we need to order them from least to greatest. I'm going to start by going down the chart. I see that Kelly has 2 pounds, 9 ounces. I know that 1 pound is 16 ounces, so 2 pounds will be 32 ounces. Plus the 9 ounces means that Kelly's pumpkins are 41 ounces. Next, I can do Neelam. Neelam's pumpkin is already in ounces, so I can just write 30 ounces. Jackson his pumpkin is 2.5 pounds. 2.5 pounds. So that will need to be converted into ounces. I know, once again, from a T-chart, that a pound is 16 ounces. So 2 pounds will be 32 ounces. Well, Jackson has 2 pounds, so the 2 pounds convert into 32 ounces. And then the half a pound, if 1 pound is 16 ounces, then a half a pound is 8 ounces. And if I add 32 plus 8, that gives me 40 ounces. The last friend, Raul, his pumpkin weight is already in ounces, and we know that his pumpkin weight is 38 ounces. So now that we have the same measurements, the same unit of measurement, 41 ounces, 30 ounces, 40 ounces, and 38 ounces, we're ready to put our measurements in order from least to greatest. Well, the smallest pumpkin is 30 ounces, and that would be Neelam's pumpkin. The next smallest is 38 ounces. The 38-ounce pumpkin belongs to Raul. Next, we have the 40-ounce pumpkin that belongs to Jackson. And the greatest would be 41 ounces, and that pumpkin belongs to Kelly.